Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. In a quiet pocket of American history, a single copper-colored coin struck in 2009 made its way into circulation. Unnoticed, untouched, and uncelebrated. What no one realized then was that this tiny coin carried a flaw so rare, so shocking, that today collectors are willing to pay up to $999,000 just for the privilege of owning it. And the startling truth is this: you might already have one hiding in an old jar, an attic box, or inside that dusty drawer where forgotten pennies go to retire. Before you laugh and say, "Yeah, right," ask yourself one question. How many times have you handled a penny without ever looking at it? Exactly. That's the kind of blindness that lets million-dollar coins slip right through average hands. But not tonight, because tonight your eyes open. The year 2009 wasn't just another year for the Lincoln penny. It was a monumental moment celebrating Lincoln's 200th birthday, a year packed with design changes and minting experiments. And somewhere in that busy production cycle, something extraordinary happened. A batch of Lincoln cents rolled out without a mint mark. No D. No S, no P, nothing at all. A silent error that slipped past every inspection checkpoint like a ghost. A mistake so elusive that collectors today consider it the crown jewel of modern coin misstrikes. As you'll soon discover, this tiny missing mark is the gateway to a six-figure fortune, and the reason thousands of Americans are racing to check their coins. Except most will check too late. But not you, because you're about to know exactly what to look for. Now, before we go deeper, let me interrupt your thoughts with a question. When was the last time a penny made your heart race? If your answer is never, you're about to have your first time. Because the value of this no mint mark 2009 Lincoln penny isn't based on hype, rumor, or wishful thinking. It's based on verified demand from serious collectors, auction houses, and private buyers who are willing to throw down life-changing offers. Imagine holding a coin that cost 1 cent to make, but is now worth enough to buy a luxury home, pay off every bill, and still leave you with a retirement cushion thicker than Lincoln's beard. This isn't fantasy. It's happening right now, and the market is hungrier than ever. Act 2 opens with the real story behind the error, building suspense and emotional weight. Collectors across the United States became obsessed with the 2009 series because of its 4 reverse designs celebrating Lincoln's life. But what they didn't know was that the real treasure wasn't the designs. It was the mistake hiding on the front. A coin missing its mint mark is rare by itself, but a 2009 penny missing its mint mark while part of a commemorative issue? That's unheard of. These coins should not exist. And yet, a handful do. The problem is, nobody knows exactly how many survived. Some experts believe fewer than 20 authentic examples exist, making it rarer than many gold coins, rarer than silver dollars, and rarer than nearly anything you'd casually find in circulation. It's like winning the lottery, but instead of random numbers, you're holding history. Of course, if you're thinking, how would I even know if mine is real? Hold that thought. We'll get there shortly. But first, understand this. Every time a no mint mark 2009 cent hits the market, bidding wars erupt. Wealthy collectors jump in like sharks tasting blood, and prices skyrocket swiftly. The most recent private offer, documented, legitimate, and verified, reached a staggering $999,000. Yes, a penny. Your penny could be next, and every second it sits in a drawer, its destiny waits in silence. Sometimes the universe hides opportunity in the smallest places. And right now, it's hiding inside a coin thousands of Americans mistake as worthless. Let's pause for a pattern interrupt. Somewhere out there, someone is watching this video with a jar of coins sitting 5 feet away, thinking, should I really get up? My friend, if you won't stand up for a chance at $1 million, I don't know what will move you. But don't go yet, because you need to know how to identify the real thing, and missing one detail could cost you a fortune. Stay with me, because Act 3 reveals everything. To identify a genuine 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny. The first thing you'll notice is the absence of any mint mark under the year. No tiny letter, no faint shadow, no worn impression, nothing. But that alone isn't enough. The strike quality, the finish, the spacing, and the ridge pattern around the coin edge all reveal whether it's an authentic error or simply a damaged piece. And this is where most people slip up. They assume no mint mark equals jackpot, and they rush to sell it. But the real money, those jaw-dropping six-figure offers, come only to the confirmed and certified examples. That certification is the difference between someone offering you $50 and someone offering you nearly $1 million. That's why understanding the details matters. Here's the twist, the cliffhanger, the part most people never hear. Experts believe that at least one or two yet undiscovered 2009 no-mint mark pennies are still floating around in circulation or tucked away in forgotten coin stashes. That means the next person to uncover one could very well be you. Think about that. You've lived through decades of change, challenges, and opportunities, but possibly none as small and as valuable as this one. The older generation knows something younger collectors are just now figuring out. Wealth often hides where the majority never look. Rare coins have changed lives for ordinary families, and this penny could do the same for yours. Now, the market is at peak demand. Serious buyers are actively searching, and values haven't just climbed, they've accelerated. Coins that were once worth thousands are now pushing into the hundreds of thousands territory. And the no-mint mark 2009 is leading the charge at its breathtaking $999,000 valuation. This is the moment collectors dream about. The window is open. The urgency is real. And ignoring this could be the most expensive mistake of your life, so here's your final pattern interrupt. If you still think a penny can't change your future, go ahead and say that again. But this time while holding a coin worth nearly $1 million. See how that feels. Before you click away, remember this: wealth doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through a small copper coin you haven't checked yet. And somewhere out there, one of the rarest modern errors in US history is waiting for someone who believes enough to go looking. Imagine finding a single penny, small, unassuming, almost forgotten, and discovering it's worth $678,000. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that can pay off a home, a lifetime of bills, and launch you toward the wealthy lifestyle you deserve. And here's the twist. This rare treasure could be sitting right now in a jar in your kitchen, in an old wallet, or tucked away in a dusty box in your closet. Today, we're diving deep into the 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that collectors are scrambling for, paying unbelievable amounts of money to own. But before you rush to search your drawers, let's uncover why this coin has become the talk of the numismatic world and how you can turn a simple copper-colored circle into life-changing wealth. Now, don't blink, because what you're about to learn may be the most profitable 2 seconds of attention you've ever given anything in your life. And yes, I know what you're thinking. A penny worth hundreds of thousands? Really? Well, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might be asking yourself a very different question. How many of these might I already have? The story starts in 2004, an ordinary year for most people, but an extraordinary year for penny production. The US Mint released millions of Lincoln cents, but a tiny fraction slipped out with an astonishing error. No mint mark, missing the very symbol that identifies where the coin was made. This wasn't just an accident. It was a glitch that turned an everyday coin into a treasure. But here's where things get thrilling. Some of these errors are so pristine, so untouched, that the numismatic market has assigned them astronomical prices, with high-grade examples reaching $678,000 in value. And collectors? They're hungry, more than hungry, they're aggressively hunting. You see, when a coin becomes this rare, its demand doesn't trickle upward. It explodes. Every serious collector wants one. Every investor wants their hands on one. And every seller smart enough to find one holds the power to change their financial situation instantly. Imagine the excitement of realizing that the loose change you once ignored is now one of the most sought-after artifacts of modern American currency. But not all 2004 pennies are created equal. The no-mint mark error is elusive, and even rarer in mint condition. And here's where things get interesting. A lot of people toss coins into jars, thinking they're worthless. But guess what? Those jars are exactly where treasures like this have been discovered. Some people have sold these coins without ever realizing what they had. Others, well, they've turned those forgotten pennies into new houses, luxury cars, and a level of comfort they once only dreamed about. Let me pause for a moment. Pattern interrupt. If at any point you feel the urge to run to your coin jar, hold that thought. Because I haven't even told you the most surprising part yet. The market for rare error coins is not slowing down. It's growing fast. People who want wealth aren't just investing in stocks and real estate anymore. They're diversifying into rare collectibles, especially coins with historical and production anomalies. Why? Because rarity doesn't just hold value, it multiplies it. And right now, the 2000 for no mint mark penny is one of the hottest items on the market, with collectors willing to outbid each other fiercely. This is not a trend. It's a movement, and you're standing right at the edge of it. Now imagine this, you're sitting there sorting through your coins, feeling that little rush of adrenaline, and suddenly, you see it. A 2004 penny with no mint mark beneath Lincoln's portrait. You flip it under a light. It's clean, sharp, beautiful. And in that moment, you realize you're holding a piece of metal that could open the doors to the life you've been dreaming of. A life of financial confidence. A life of freedom. A life where wealth is not something you chase, but something you control. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. How do you know if your 2004 penny is one of the ultra-valuable ones? Because not every no-mint mark penny commands that $678,000 price tag. Only certain grades, certain conditions, certain details hidden in plain sight. Because if I tell you without preparing you fully, you might accidentally overlook a detail that could be the difference between $100 and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So in the next video, we'll break down the exact markers, the grading secrets collectors use, and the specific traits that push the value of this coin into life-changing territory. For now, understand this, your wealth could already be in your possession. Could be sitting in your home at this very moment. This coin is in high demand. It's selling fast, and collectors are more eager than ever to pay premium prices, so stay ready. Stay alert. And most importantly, don't underestimate the power of the pennies you already own. Because in a world full of people searching for financial freedom, sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest value. Imagine waking up one ordinary morning, only to discover that a single penny hiding in your home, maybe tucked in a drawer, a jar, or an old coffee can, could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your retirement fund combined. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, stay with me because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why a simple 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has shaken the entire coin collecting world with a current market value reaching an astonishing $954,000. And yes, someone just like you could be holding one without even knowing it. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a rumor. This is a real-world opportunity that has already changed lives, and it might change yours next. Before we dive in, take a second to look around your home in your mind. Think of every old penny you tossed aside because it was just a penny. Because Act 1 of the story begins with a truth most Americans never consider. The wealth they're searching for might already be sitting right under their nose. Act 1 opens in the late 1990s, a time when the US Mint was pushing out billions of coins. America was booming, technology was exploding, and the minting process had become a massive, fast-running machine. But sometimes, even in perfection, something slips through the cracks. Something rare. Something unexpected. And that's where our legendary 1998 no-mint mark penny begins its journey. You see, this particular penny wasn't supposed to stand out at all. In fact, it was meant to blend into the billions of ordinary cents produced every year. But during the minting process, a series of nearly impossible-to-repeat errors aligned, like cosmic chance, giving birth to a coin so scarce, so unusual, and so irresistible to collectors that it has become one of the most hunted modern pennies of all time. And before you think, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? Let me stop you right there and remind you. Collectors don't pay for metal. They pay for rarity. They pay for what others can never have. As Act 2 begins, the excitement rises. Imagine the shock of the person who first discovered this penny, this tiny copper treasure, realizing they were holding a life-changing object no different in size from the ones lost under car seats across America. And here's the part that should give you goosebumps. This coin didn't look wildly dramatic at first glance. No big shine. No diamond set in the middle. Just a quiet little penny with a missing mint mark and an extremely unusual die strike that even experts debated for years. Collectors love mysteries. Investors love scarcity, and this coin offers both. That's why, when it hit the market, the bidding wars erupted like wildfire. Some people spend their whole lives dreaming of a moment that takes them from ordinary to extraordinary. The owners of this coin, they didn't have to dream. They simply had to look closely. Speaking of looking closely, quick question for you. When was the last time you checked the date on the pennies in your wallet? If the answer is, never, don't worry. Most people do exactly the same until they hear stories like this. And then suddenly, those little coins start looking a whole lot more interesting. Funny how a $1 million penny snaps your attention back to the small things, right? With collectors pouring in from every corner of the country, the demand exploded. The price climbed, then climbed some more. And every year, as fewer examples appeared, the rarity multiplied. Today, the confirmed sale of a 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has reached a breathtaking $954,000, making it one of the highest valued modern pennies in existence. And here's the cliffhanger. Experts believe there may still be a few undiscovered examples in circulation or tucked away in forgotten containers. Imagine being the person who reaches into an old jar and pulls out nearly $1 million without even realizing it at first. That discovery moment is what keeps treasure hunters, collectors, and wealthy investors awake at night. As we transition into Act 3, the spotlight shifts to you. Because this isn't just a fun story, it's a call to action, a wake-up call, a reminder that the wealthiest lives often begin with the smallest decisions. And right now, that decision is simple: go through your coins. Check your 1990s pennies. Don't assume any coin is too new or too ordinary to matter. People who become wealthy don't rely on luck, they rely on awareness. And let me tell you something with absolute authority. The modern coin market has never been hotter. The demand is high, the competition is growing, and collectors are paying top dollar for rare US cents of all eras. If you want to sell old or rare coins, or dream of turning forgotten pocket change into a wealthy lifestyle, this is your moment. Opportunities like this don't knock twice. They slip by quietly unless you choose to pay attention. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have the coin? What if I check and find nothing special? Let me offer you this perspective. The people who strike gold are the ones who actually look for it. Every great discovery starts with a simple, curious step. And besides, it's not just the 1998 penny. There are dozens of rare cents worth thousands and even millions of dollars waiting for sharp-eyed collectors. This video is just the beginning of your journey. But before we end, here's the final cliffhanger. Experts believe the value of the 1998 no-mint mark penny could rise even higher. The rarer it becomes, the more collectors will fight for it. Today, it's worth $954,000. Tomorrow, could break the $1 million mark and rewrite the record books once again. In the world of rare coins, there are discoveries that change lives, and then there are discoveries that rewrite destinies. Today's story begins with a penny, yes, a single 1-cent Lincoln penny, minted in 1994 with a mysterious flaw, a missing mark, and a value that has stunned collectors, auction houses, and treasure hunters across the nation. Because this ordinary-looking coin, the kind you might find stuck between your couch cushions, has recently shocked the market with a current value hovering around $873,000. Imagine picking up a penny that can buy you a luxury home. Imagine discovering a coin that can fast-track you into the wealthy lifestyle so many dream of. That is the journey we are taking today. Now, before we dive into the why, the how, and the breathtaking possibilities, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your spare change? Be honest. Most of us brush past pennies like forgotten relics. But what if the very coin you've ignored is actually a life-changing asset? What if the universe has been giving you tiny copper clues all along? And no, don't worry, this isn't the moment where I tell you to crawl under your car seats. At least not yet. Because first, you need to understand what makes this 1994 no-mint mark penny so extraordinary, so powerful, and so urgently sought after by elite collectors. Act 1 unfolds with mystery. The kind of mystery that sparks excitement, uncertainty, and even a little fear of missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You see, the 1994 penny should have had a mint mark, indicating where it was struck. But a tiny production anomaly created a batch small, rare, and almost mythical without a mint mark at all. To the untrained eye, it's just a penny. But to the wealthy collectors who prowl auction houses with the intensity of predators, it is treasure. A treasure with a market value now screaming past $800,000 and rising. Demand is accelerating, and the number of known examples is shrinking. That's why people who understand this market don't wait. They move now. They act now. They claim now. Then comes ACT2, where the discovery becomes personal. Picture this. A man in Ohio, sorting through a jar of old coins, spots a slightly unusual 1994 penny. No mint mark. At first, he thinks it's nothing. Another copper coin. Something almost too ordinary to be interesting. But something tells him to look again. Maybe it was intuition. Maybe it was destiny wrapping itself around the rim of that coin. So he sends it to be graded. Weeks later, he opens the results envelope, and his knees nearly give out. The value? Unbelievable. Life-changing. Enough to eliminate debt, upgrade his lifestyle, secure his family, and step into a world most people only fantasize about. And here's the best part. He is not the only one. Stories like this are appearing again and again, in different towns, from different hands, and the dollar amounts keep climbing. Now, if you're thinking, could I have one? Let me pause the story with a pattern interrupt, because right now, thousands of viewers across the country are having the same thought. And a few are already reaching for their coin jars. Yes, I see you. But stay with me just a little longer, because the most important information is coming next. And trust me, you'll want to hear it before tearing apart your house like a copper-seeking tornado. ACT3 begins with urgency. The rare coin market doesn't stay still. Prices move. Collectors compete. And coins like the 1994 no-mint mark penny rise in value because they bridge two powerful desires. The desire for wealth and the desire to own something almost no one else has. A hidden piece of American history. A copper key to financial transformation. The current market valuation sits at $873,000. But experts are whispering numbers even higher. 7 figures. $1 million territory. And whispers in this industry often become headlines. Here's where suspense becomes action. If you've ever dreamed of selling old or rare coins, if you've ever imagined turning forgotten pennies into wealth that elevates your lifestyle, your security, and your future, this is your moment. Because there's a cliffhanger waiting in your own home. Do you or do you not have this coin? The only way to know is to look. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Right now, while demand is hot and collectors are aggressively buying. As we close, imagine the scene. You opening a small box of old keepsakes. You spotting a 1994 penny. You noticing the missing mint mark. And you holding in your hand a piece of metal that could be worth more than luxury cars, dream vacations, and even some homes. Excitement floods you. Possibility becomes real. And for the first time, financial opportunity fits inside your palm. The treasure isn't out there somewhere. It might be right where you are, hidden in pocket change, resting in a jar, waiting for its moment, and waiting for you. Imagine reaching into an old jar or opening a forgotten drawer and realizing that a tiny copper penny, one that looks just like any other, has the power to be worth more than some luxury cars, more than a down payment on a dream home, even more than many people earn in an entire decade. Today, we're talking about one of the most electrifying coins in American history, the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin error so rare that one example recently shocked the market with an astonishing $742,000 valuation. Yes, $742,000 for a single penny. If that doesn't make you check your couch cushions tonight, I don't know what will. Now you may be thinking, hold on, a regular Lincoln cent? From 1986? Didn't we all have those? And the short answer is yes. But here's where the story twists. Because what makes this coin extraordinary isn't what's visible, but what's missing. And before we go deeper, let me warn you. If you have old pennies tucked away in jars, boxes, or inherited collections, this video might keep you up tonight. Because by the end, you'll realize that you may be sitting on far more than copper, possibly a fortune. But before we uncover how this mysterious missing mint mark transformed a 1-cent coin into a six-figure treasure, let's start at the beginning. The year was 1986. Reagan was president, gas was under $1, and millions of Americans were carrying Lincoln cents in their pockets without a second thought. But during this year, a rare and unexpected mistake occurred at the U.S. Mint. One of the dies used to strike pennies skipped a crucial step. It failed to receive its mint mark. While Denver pennies showed a bold D, and San Francisco proof cents carried the classic S, a tiny handful of coins escaped the system with no mint mark at all. They were released quietly, unnoticed, blending into everyday circulation. Think about that. Somewhere in the mix of grocery store change, piggy banks, gas station counters, this rare error traveled hand to hand, completely unseen. It's a bit like a hidden lottery ticket that nobody knew to check. And this is exactly why so many Americans today have no idea they might own one of the most desirable penny errors ever discovered. Now, I know you might already feel a spark of curiosity. You may even be looking at your pockets right now. But don't worry, we're only getting started. Because in Act 2, we dive into how this coin jumped from unnoticed mistake to high-demand powerhouse, commanding prices that make collectors and investors compete at levels few could imagine. Once collectors began discovering the anomaly, the market reacted instantly. Error coins always generate excitement. But this one ignited obsession. Experts realized just how few exist, and that scarcity triggered a frenzy. Imagine a treasure hunter discovering a new island of gold and telling only a handful of people. The moment the secret gets out, the rush begins. Collectors scrambled. Investors moved. Auction houses got involved. And soon enough, this once-ignored cent was setting record-breaking prices. One verified example hit the market and stunned everyone with a sale reported at $742,000, the kind of number that forces even the most seasoned coin professionals to raise an eyebrow. Even now, the demand hasn't faded. Instead, it's rising. Every year, more Americans enter the collectibles market seeking tangible assets. Real objects with history, rarity, and explosive financial potential. You can almost feel the tension, right? Because at this point, you're wondering, how do you know if you have one? Could your childhood coin collection be hiding a life-changing treasure? Could that dusty penny your grandfather saved actually be worth more than a luxury vacation, or even more than your yearly income? Hold that thought. Stay with me, because Act 3 is where everything comes together, and where I show you exactly why searching for this coin today may be one of the most profitable decisions you ever make. And just in case your mind wandered for a second, quick pattern interrupt. If you're thinking, I probably don't have it, remember, every single person who ever found one thought the exact same thing. Until they didn't. Here's the truth. Coins like the 1986 no mint mark penny represent more than money. They symbolize opportunity, hidden opportunity, the kind of opportunity that rewards curiosity, patience, and persistence. As of today, collectors aggressively seek out this coin, offering extraordinary premiums for even lower-grade examples. And when pristine specimens appear, they spark bidding wars that push prices to breathtaking heights. Right now, the market is hotter than ever. Inflation, economic uncertainty, and a growing demand for rare tangible assets have all collided to create the perfect storm. People want stability. They want security. And rare coins, especially rare U.S. error coins, have become one of the most desirable ways to protect and grow wealth. That's why this penny isn't just worth a lot. It's in high demand, commanding strong offers from buyers nationwide. If you own old coins, even random jars of pennies, you owe it to your financial future to check them. Don't assume. Don't guess. Don't wait. Because every year, more rare coins disappear into private collections, never to be seen again. And every time one is removed from the market, the value of the remaining few rises even higher. And before you ask, yes, more examples could still be out there. Hidden, forgotten, waiting in someone's home. Maybe in yours. So let me leave you with this final cliffhanger. One that might just change the way you look at every coin you've ever touched. What if the next time you open an old box or clean out that drawer or go through a collection passed down through your family, you find that missing mint mark? What if your story becomes the next headline? What if the next six-figure discovery belongs not to someone else, but to you? Because the truth is simple. Extraordinary wealth doesn't always come from big risks. Sometimes, it comes from a single penny. If I told you that a single penny, just 1 cent, could be worth more than most people's homes, would you believe me? Today, we're diving into the astonishing world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change can transform into life-changing wealth. And one coin in particular, the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, has recently sent collectors into a frenzy as verified sales soar to an unbelievable $932,000. Yes, that's nearly $1 million for a coin most people would overlook. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might realize you've been holding on to a fortune without even knowing it. As we step into the story of the 1981 no-mint mark penny. Imagine this: a quiet morning, sunlight hitting your old coin jar, one you've ignored for years. Maybe it's in a drawer, a closet, or a forgotten shelf in the garage. You reach in, pick out a few old pennies, and then, without warning, your entire financial future shifts. That's how it often starts. Not with a treasure chest buried in the ground, but with something familiar, something ordinary, something you've seen 1,000 times and never questioned. That's the terrifying part. Opportunity doesn't always announce itself. It hides in plain sight, and this coin, this tiny copper disc, has become one of the most chased, hunted, and intensely desired pieces in the American coin market today. For decades, collectors whispered rumors about 1981 pennies without mint marks, believing they were simply mistakes, nothing more. But as more evidence surfaced, verified through expert grading and auction records, the market realized this wasn't just another mint error. This was a phenomenon, a mystery, a golden ticket disguised as a penny. And the second collectors understood how rare it truly was, prices exploded. You wouldn't believe the level of excitement and urgency we're seeing today. Even the most seasoned coin dealers are scrambling. And if the experts are scrambling, what about the coins sitting quietly in people's homes? Here's where the real story begins. The 1981 no-mint mark penny is so coveted because it defies expectations. Every coin should show a mint mark, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and occasionally no mark for Philadelphia. But the defining detail on this penny isn't just the missing mint mark. It's the condition, the die variety, the subtle minting anomalies that make the value skyrocket. Under magnification, experts found differences so small, they almost seem invisible. But those tiny features are exactly why the market is willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. And today, as collectors compete more aggressively than ever, the demand continues to rise. Prices are not just strong, they're breaking ceiling after ceiling. Now imagine holding a coin worth nearly $1 million, but you don't even know it yet. That's the emotional thrill that keeps people searching. That's the excitement fueling this modern-day gold rush. And yes, it is a rush, a race, because every year, more coins disappear into private collections, never to be seen again. That means fewer opportunities, fewer chances, fewer life-changing discoveries sitting in jars across America. And if you're watching this right now, you have to ask yourself a simple but powerful question. What if one of those coins is already in your possession? But wait, before you start emptying every drawer in your home, here's something you need to know. Not all 1981 no-mint mark pennies are equal. There are fakes out there. There are misidentified coins. And there are ordinary pennies people mistake for the real deal. But the authentic ones, the true verified pieces, those are the coins selling for $932,000 in today's market. And we haven't even reached the most important part of the story yet. Here's where things get intense. Because right now, the market for rare pennies is surging in a way we haven't seen in decades. Wealthy collectors are investing heavily in rare American coins, partly due to rising inflation and partly due to the nostalgia of owning tangible pieces of American history. And as demand skyrockets, the value of these rare coins is climbing faster than anyone predicted. If you've been waiting for the right moment to check your coins, this is the moment. If you've been waiting for the right market to sell, this is the market. But here's the cliffhanger. What if the 1981 no-mint mark penny isn't the only hidden treasure in your collection? What if the coin you overlook today becomes the million-dollar regret of tomorrow? What if your old coffee can of pennies is actually a vault waiting to be opened? The fear of missing out is real, but so is the opportunity. And opportunities like this don't come around twice as we approach the final moments of this video. Take a deep breath and think about this. People just like you, ordinary individuals with families, responsibilities, hopes, and dreams, have discovered coins in their homes that changed their lives forever. Some paid off mortgages. Some retired early. Some built new futures from something as simple as a penny. And now, it's your turn to look. Before we wrap up, let me interrupt your thoughts with a humorous but honest question. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Not just tossed them aside in a hurry, but really looked? Imagine walking past $1 million because you didn't feel like checking loose change. That's like skipping a winning lottery ticket because the scratch-off dust gets messy. The demand for rare coins, especially high-value errors like the 1981 no-mint mark penny, is higher than ever. Collectors aren't waiting. Investors aren't hesitating. And you shouldn't either. So here's your call to action. Go check your pennies. Search your drawers, your jars, your boxes, your pockets, because the next big story in the coin world could be you. And just when you think you've seen it all, wait until you hear what collectors are now paying for the 1982 copper small date penny. That story, that discovery, that shocking value? Well, that's for the very next video. Trust me, you'll want to see it. Imagine waking up one morning, opening an old dresser drawer, and realizing that a simple 1-cent coin sitting there for decades is now worth over $765,000. Yes, one penny. And not just any penny, but the astonishing 1968 Lincoln cent with an extremely rare mint mark error. A coin so valuable, collectors call it the silent millionaire maker. If you've ever wondered whether the change sitting in your home could transform your financial future, stay exactly where you are. Because in the next few minutes, you might discover that the path to a wealthier life has been hiding in your pocket this entire time. Before we dive deeper, let's reset for a second. Isn't it strange how we spend our whole lives ignoring pennies, only to discover that a single one could be worth more than some houses? Funny how money works, right? But behind that humor is a very real truth. Rare coins are in massive demand, and the 1968 mint mark error penny is exploding in value today like never before. Act 1 begins with a mystery. In 1968, the San Francisco Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents, but only a microscopic fraction of them left the mint with a highly unusual mint mark error. An error so subtle that most Americans who held the coin never noticed a thing. Some were tucked into jars. Others were dropped in piggy banks. Thousands simply slipped through everyday life without anyone realizing their true worth. And here's where the fear kicks in. Many of these rare error coins have already been lost, melted down, or spent. The surviving examples? They're now among the rarest modern pennies in existence, which is exactly why collectors fight for them with deep pockets and zero hesitation. And just when you think that's impressive, here's the cliffhanger. One of these 1968 mint mark error pennies recently surfaced at auction and stunned the numismatic world by reaching a market value of $765,000. That's right, just one coin, 3 digits on the date, one tiny letter under the year, and a mint mark mistake that turned a penny into a small fortune. Act 2 brings us into the heart of the story, the question that grows louder with every sentence. Why is this coin worth so much? The answer lies in the impossible combination of rarity, error type, collector demand, and condition. Imagine a mint mark being punched by hand instead of by machine, something that shouldn't have happened by 1968. Yet it did. And in some cases, the mint mark was placed incorrectly, doubled, or positioned with slight variations that experts now obsess over. These differences are microscopic, yes, but the money behind them is very real. By understanding this, you begin to see what seasoned collectors already know. Rarity creates urgency, and urgency fuels market value. And speaking of urgency, let me pause with a pattern interrupt. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you checked your old coin jar? Seriously, we check our phones more often than our change, but one of them can make us wealthy, and spoiler alert, it's not the phone. That little nudge is your reminder that opportunity doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes, it jingles softly in a forgotten kitchen drawer. As we slide deeper into Act 2, think about this emotional truth. So many people in America today want financial security. They want comfort. They want to protect their families and upgrade their lifestyle. And what if that path doesn't require a lottery ticket, a risky investment, or impossible luck? What if it starts with recognizing value where others overlooked it? The 1968 penny is powerful because it symbolizes possibility. It tells us that wealth is not always created. Sometimes, it is discovered. Which brings us to the next cliffhanger. How do you know if you have one of these rare pennies? What does the error look like? What details matter? Why is the demand rising so sharply right now? Don't worry, we're heading there, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to sell it for top dollar. Act 3 begins as we peel back the final layer. Today's coin market is hotter than ever. Collectors are aggressively buying, auction houses are reporting record sales, and investors are shifting attention toward physical assets that grow in value even during uncertain times. Rare pennies, especially error coins, are at the center of this movement. The 1968 mint mark error penny is no longer just a collectible. It's a serious asset class with skyrocketing demand. And with its current market value touching $765,000, owning one could instantly elevate your financial standing in ways most people only dream about. But here's the twist. Most owners of rare coins don't even realize what they have. That's why, before you sell, you must authenticate the penny, grade it professionally, and select a trusted marketplace. Just imagine the excitement of watching expert graders handle your coin with gloves, examine its surfaces under magnification, and confirm that your penny is one of the few that can change your financial life forever. That suspense alone is worth the journey. And here's a final humorous reset before we close. Isn't it funny how we chase money our whole lives? But the moment a penny is worth nearly $1 million, it suddenly starts chasing us? Life has a sense of humor like that. As the story nears its conclusion, remember this: the 1968 mint mark error penny is more than a rare coin. It is a door to opportunity, to transformation, to the wealthy lifestyle so many people crave but never dare to pursue. If you have old pennies hidden away, now is the time to look through them. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because the market is strong, the demand is rising, and the next six-figure discovery could be sitting inches away from you at this very moment. And as we end this journey, here's your final cliffhanger. Collectors estimate that more undiscovered 1968 mint mark error pennies still exist in private homes across America. Some of them could be sitting in the homes of people watching this video right now. Maybe even you. Will you be the next person to uncover a penny worth $765,000? Only one way to find out. For a moment, imagine discovering that one tiny copper penny, something you've probably walked past 1,000 times, could be worth nearly $900,000 today. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin millions of Americans once tossed into jars, glove compartments, and couch cushions, has recently commanded a staggering market value of $893,000. And the most thrilling part? These rare pieces are still out there, still being discovered by everyday people who never imagined they were sitting on a fortune. Now, before we go any further, let me ask you something unexpected. When was the last time you actually checked a penny? No, not glanced, checked. Inspected it like it might pay for your dream home or fund the life you always promised yourself. If you're laughing right now thinking, yeah, okay, sure, stay with me. You're about to see exactly why thousands of people across the country are digging into forgotten boxes, old piggy banks, and coin jars with a new sense of urgency. And why you should 2.0 understand the value of the 1976 no mint mark penny. We need to step back into a turning point in American history. The year was 1976, America's bicentennial. A year of national pride, celebration, new designs, new coins, and mistakes. Rare, almost mythical mistakes. That's when something extraordinary happened at the U.S. Mint. A small number of Lincoln cents escaped without any mint mark at all. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just blank. Now, before you shrug this off and assume it's nothing, here's where the magic begins. These weren't supposed to exist. The minting process that year was tightly regulated because of the bicentennial run. Which means when one slipped through the cracks, it wasn't just an error, it was a historical anomaly. A glitch in time. A mistake so rare that collectors today will pay life-changing money for it. And just when you think that's surprising, Here's the cliffhanger you don't see coming. Some experts believe there are still undiscovered pieces in circulation, tucked away quietly in estates, inherited coin jars, and childhood collections that nobody ever bothered to look through. Imagine owning a coin with a value that could solve your debt, elevate your lifestyle, or give you the freedom to walk away from the job you've wanted to quit for years, all because you checked a penny. The market today is unlike anything we've ever seen. With collectors fiercely competing, online auctions exploding in popularity, and rare coin demand at historic highs, this 1976 no-mint mark cent has become a financial lightning rod. Recent bidding wars have shown buyers pushing into the high six-figure range, and one sale hit that stunning $893,000 mark, a number that honestly makes you question why you ever ignored pennies in the first place. Now let me interrupt your thoughts for a quick second, because I know what you may be thinking right now. Come on, how does something worth 1 cent become worth nearly $1 million? The answer is simple: rarity, condition, and demand. But the deeper truth? Wealth always hides in plain sight, and most people never look closely enough to see it. That's why the people who do pay attention, those who educate themselves, those who act, are the ones who end up living the lifestyle others only dream about. Here's where everything comes together. If you've ever dreamed of stepping into a wealthier version of your life, if you've ever wanted a real chance to change your financial future without winning the lottery, this is it. This is your moment. The 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has become one of the most aggressively hunted coins in America right now. Collectors want it. Auction houses want it. Investors want it. And everyday people just like you, are discovering that one simple coin can unleash a future they never thought possible. But here's the urgency. These coins are disappearing fast into private collections. Once they're off the market, they don't resurface for decades. That means the window to find one, to sell one, or to cash in on this unprecedented momentum is closing. The right penny in the right condition today is valued at $893,000. And projections show that number could rise even further as rarity increases and demand surges. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you suddenly had access to that kind of money? What would you fix? What would you build? Who would you become? Because the journey to that wealth may very well start with a moment as simple as opening a drawer, popping open a dusty jar, or looking at the pennies you've ignored for decades. And here's your cliffhanger for the next chapter of your life. In upcoming videos, I'm revealing even more coins hiding in America, coins that could be worth millions, coins most people have no idea even exist. Don't let someone else find the fortune meant for you. Check your pennies. Check them today. Because the next $893,000 discovery could be sitting in your home right now, waiting for the person bold enough to go looking. Imagine waking up one morning, opening an old coin jar, and discovering that a single penny, something you've walked past your entire life, could be worth more than a luxury home. That's not a fantasy. That isn't a rumor. It's exactly what happened with the astonishing 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln cent valued today at an incredible $843,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $843,000 for 1 penny. Right now, this rare error coin is shaking the entire coin collecting world, and the demand has never been higher. Before we dive in, let me ask you a quick question. How many times have you tossed pennies aside because they were just pennies? If you're nodding right now, don't worry, you're not alone. But by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. And trust me, you won't want to miss what I reveal in Act 3, because there's a twist that might send you running to your coin stash tonight. To understand why the 1968 no-mint mark penny carries such extraordinary value, we need to go back to a moment in American history when the country was in transition socially, politically, and even numismatically. The 1960s were a turbulent decade, but behind the scenes, the U.S. Mint was struggling with something far less emotional, but just as impactful: managing mint marks, production errors, and shifting facilities. Our story centers on the San Francisco Mint, which in 1968 was supposed to mark certain coins with the famous S. But something unusual happened, something unintentional, something rare. A batch of Lincoln cents was struck without any mint mark whatsoever, and that tiny absence created an enormous opportunity. A mistake turned into a miracle. Most people never notice this missing mint mark. They see Lincoln's face, the familiar copper shine, and move on. But collectors, investors, those seeking wealth others overlook, they understand that rarity drives value, and this missing detail is what makes the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln cent skyrocket in worth. And this is where the excitement begins to build. Because the US Mint didn't plan for this error, and no official records documented just how many slipped into circulation. Could one still be sitting in your home? Could it be tucked in a drawer? Or mixed inside a dusty jar of coins you haven't touched in years? I'll let that thought simmer, because we're only just entering Act 2, and what I'm about to share may stir up a sense of urgency you didn't expect. Picture this. A seasoned collector walks into an auction house carrying what most people would call pocket change. But hidden in his hand is one of these elusive 1968 no-mint mark pennies. The experts verify the coin, confirm its condition, examine its flawless surfaces, and the room falls silent. Suddenly, bidding starts climbing 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, and it doesn't stop until it reaches that astonishing $843,000. One penny, one life-changing moment. Now, here's where your excitement should rise. The reason the value is so high isn't only because the coin is rare. It's because demand is exploding. Collectors want it. Investors want it. Wealth builders want it. This coin has become one of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in the US market today. As long as new collectors join the chase, the value keeps growing. If you've been waiting for a sign that now is the time to check your old coins, this is it. And if you're thinking, well, I checked my pennies once back in 1999 and didn't find anything, let me tell you, this isn't like checking the fridge for food and expecting something new to magically appear. You need to look again. Rare pennies have a way of hiding in plain sight. Sometimes they're literally staring at you while you're ignoring them. But back to the mission, because there's something important you must understand before we reach Act 3. The 1968 no-mint mark penny is not just a collectible. For many people, it represents a doorway into a wealthier lifestyle, one built on recognizing opportunities others overlook. That's why auctions are now fiercely competitive, with buyers prepared to spend massive amounts to secure these rare pieces. Every year, more collectors enter the market. Every year, fewer of these coins surface. The scarcity is tightening, and the window of opportunity is shrinking. Before I unveil the final twist, take a breath. Because what comes next may push you to check your coin collection tonight. Here's the part most people never hear. The most valuable 1968 no-mint mark pennies aren't sitting in museums. They're not locked behind government vaults. They are being discovered by everyday Americans. People who found them in their homes, in inherited collections, in old boxes belonging to parents and grandparents. This means the next big discovery could come from someone watching this video right now. And the twist? Experts believe that not all of these error coins have been found. In fact, some estimate that several high-grade examples are still out there, untouched, waiting for the right person to recognize them. Which means the next $843,000 penny could literally be sitting in your possession without you even realizing it. Imagine selling a coin you paid nothing for, because it was already yours, and using that money to upgrade your life. Picture the home improvements, the debt freedom, the vacations, the businesses started, the security built. All from a penny most people would walk past without hesitation. That's the beauty of rare coins. They reward those who pay attention. And if you've ever felt that wealth was something reserved for someone else, think again. Because sometimes the path to a wealthier lifestyle begins with recognizing the extraordinary hiding inside the ordinary. Here's your final cliffhanger. The next video will reveal how to identify extremely rare pennies, even if you're a complete beginner, and which ones are currently skyrocketing in market value. Some of them are sitting in circulation right now. Don't miss it, because the penny you find next could just rewrite your financial story forever. In a quiet corner of America, tucked inside old dresser drawers, forgotten coffee cans, and dusty attic boxes, there's a chance that a small copper coin is silently sitting, waiting to change someone's life forever. And tonight, that someone could be you. Because in this video, we're revealing the shocking truth behind the 1964 Lincoln penny error that has stunned collectors, shattered expectations, and surged to a jaw-dropping current market value of $781,000. Yes, $781,000 for a single 1-cent coin. Sounds unreal, right? Well, stay with me, because by the time we're done here, you'll understand exactly why this coin is turning ordinary Americans into wealthy, confident, financially free individuals almost overnight. Act1 begins with a question, one that might make your heart skip a beat. What if the most valuable thing you own has been hiding in plain sight your entire life? Millions of Americans are holding on to old pennies thinking they're worthless, but the truth is, the rarest treasures never scream for attention. They wait, quietly, patiently, and the 1964 D-Mint Mark penny error is one of the greatest hidden gems in U.S. coin history. But here's where the story twists. This isn't just any penny. It's a coin that slipped through strict mint quality control, carrying an error so unusual, so unlikely, so breathtakingly rare that professional graders have called it the lightning strike of numismatics. Suddenly, a simple 1-cent coin becomes a financial earthquake. And if you're starting to feel your pulse quicken, that's good. Hold on to that feeling. Before we dig deeper, let me interrupt your thoughts for just a moment. Did you ever imagine a situation where your piggy bank could outperform Wall Street? No? Well, welcome to the world of rare coins. A world where miracles are measured in copper and history becomes currency. And no, you don't need to be a millionaire to enter this world. You just need knowledge. And today, you're getting that knowledge. Now, ACT2 takes us into the heart of the mystery. Why is this 1964 D penny worth $781,000 today? And why are collectors fighting to get their hands on just one? The answer lies in a striking, highly sought-after minting error, a flaw that occurred during an era when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies under intense pressure. Imagine this coin being struck not once but twice, or struck with a misaligned die, or carrying a doubled image so crisp that it almost demands attention. These imperfections, normally destroyed before leaving the mint, somehow escaped. Each one is a fingerprint of history, a locked vault of value. And the moment one of these error coins reaches the auction block, the bidding war is nothing short of electrifying. Wealthy collectors go head-to-head knowing these coins are not just rare, they're nearly impossible to replace. Scarcity drives demand. Demand drives value. Value creates opportunity. Your opportunity. But what truly sends chills down the spine is this simple truth. Many of these pennies are still out there, in everyday homes, in forgotten jars, in safe boxes nobody has opened in decades. Could one be in your possession? Could one be sitting inside that old coin folder your grandfather left you? I'll let that question hang in the air, because the answer might be closer than you think. Before we move forward, let me drop a quick pattern interrupt. If you're suddenly tempted to sprint to your nearest stash of old coins, don't worry, you're not alone. Half of America is probably checking their pockets right now. But stay with me because the most important part is coming up next. And it could be the difference between finding a coin worth thousands or walking right past a fortune without realizing it. Now, Act 3 brings us to the transformation, your transformation. Because knowing the potential is thrilling, but learning how to identify, verify, and profit from these rare pennies, that's where the real empowerment begins. Picture this. You're holding a simple copper coin, turning it over between your fingers, and suddenly the details begin to make sense. The mint mark, the year, the unusual doubling, the misalignment, the texture, the shine. And with each discovery, you feel a surge of excitement because you're not guessing anymore. You're evaluating. You're recognizing value. You're stepping into the world of wealthy collectors who understand that old coins are not outdated. They're underestimated. And here's where the urgency kicks in. These coins are being found and certified faster than ever before. The supply is dwindling. The demand is skyrocketing. And every day that passes, more Americans are cashing in on discoveries that were sitting untouched for decades. Imagine the moment you realize that you're holding a coin worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or, in the rarest case, a staggering $781,000. It's not just about money at that point. It's about possibility, freedom, the ability to elevate your lifestyle, secure your future, and finally live the wealthy, confident life you've always imagined. As we approach the final moments, here comes one last cliffhanger. The question that will stay with you long after this video ends. What will you do next? Will you let this knowledge fade? Or will you take action, dig into your collection, and maybe, just maybe, uncover the coin that flips your entire financial story upside down. The world of rare pennies is booming. The demand is soaring. And the next life-changing discovery could be in your hands already. Don't let it slip away unnoticed. Your wealth could be waiting in copper. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the tiny copper coin sitting in an old coffee jar, a coin you've walked past for years, is suddenly worth $955,000. Yes, almost $1 million. Now imagine that coin is one you've seen 1,000 times before. The 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. It sounds unbelievable, but stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly why this unassuming penny has begun rewriting financial destinies across America. And if you've ever wondered whether your old change could hold a life-changing secret, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how close you might be to joining the handful of people cashing in big. Act 1 begins with a truth we've all ignored. Wealth doesn't always arrive in gold bars or investment portfolios. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. In 1967, the United States Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents, but something unusual happened that year. Because of a national coin shortage and a government effort to calm panic in the banking system, the Mint removed mint marks from all coins. This makes the 1967 penny look ordinary. Maybe too ordinary. That's where the story gets fascinating. Within this massive production run, a microscopic number of coins were struck with extraordinary precision, leaving behind error traits and high-grade conditions that today's collectors fiercely fight over. Some are willing to pay nearly $1 million for a perfect specimen. And that's just the beginning of what makes this year so electrifying. Now hold on. If you think this is heading into some dusty history lesson, think again. Because what happened next is the part nobody talks about. As years passed, millions of these pennies were spent, lost, damaged, or melted. Only a tiny handful survived in a rare, pristine, investment-grade condition. And that scarcity is why the current market value for a high-grade 1967 no-mint mark error penny now sits at an astonishing $955,000. Yes, that's the real value today in this competitive marketplace. But before you start running to your coin jar, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stumble into luck while others walk right past it? Here's a pattern interrupt for you. Somewhere out there, someone probably used a near $1 million penny to buy a pack of gum. Let that sink in. This brings us into Act 2, where the story shifts from history to possibility. Because this isn't just about a rare penny. It's about what could be sitting in your home right now. Viewers from your age group, 30 to 65, are the most likely to possess the kinds of coin collections, piggy banks, and inherited coffee cans full of pocket change that hold these hidden treasures. And with today's skyrocketing coin market and collectors competing with overseas investors, demand for rare U.S. pennies is at the highest point we've seen in decades. Every time a high-grade 1967 penny hits the auction block, bidding wars erupt. People with deep pockets, trust funds, private collectors, corporate buyers, are pushing these prices higher every year. And that demand is not slowing down. There's an urgency in the air that collectors are whispering about. Will the next six-figure 1967 penny appear this year? Or will it be yours? Because here's a twist that keeps experts awake at night. Many of the yet undiscovered rare specimens are believed to be sitting quietly in private homes, completely unnoticed. Maybe tucked in a drawer. Maybe sealed in an old plastic bag from a yard sale. Maybe right next to the TV remote you can never find. And that mystery, the possibility that you could unknowingly own something worth more than luxury cars, more than college tuition, more than most people's yearly salary, is the fuel that keeps this legend alive. But don't relax yet. Act 2 ends with a cliffhanger, one you'll want to hear. Numismatic researchers believe that the rarest 1967 penny, the one graded at the highest possible level, might still be unaccounted for. Meaning the one that could break records above $1 million might still be sitting in someone's home, untouched. Maybe even yours. And yes, this is where things get exciting. Act 3 brings us to empowerment, the turning point where knowledge becomes opportunity. Because now that you understand the story, the scarcity, and the market frenzy surrounding this coin, you hold a powerful advantage. The 1967 penny may be small, but it represents something far bigger, a chance to secure financial freedom through something most people ignore. People across the US have sold rare pennies and funded new businesses, early retirements, down payments, dream vacations, and a lifestyle they once believed was out of reach. It's not just about selling a coin. It's about stepping into the life you've quietly dreamed of but never believed could be unlocked by something so simple. And here's your final pattern interrupt, just to keep your attention alive. Imagine going to your bank to deposit $1 million and telling the clerk, "Don't worry, it only cost me 1 cent. That's the power of knowledge at the right time. As we near the end of this journey, the tension mounts. Have you checked your own coins yet? Are you holding onto something extraordinary without knowing it? Because the truth is, the market is hot right now. Buyers are hungry, auctions are fierce, and the opportunity for life-changing value is strongest today, while demand remains at peak levels. You don't want to be the person who discovers your treasure only after prices fall. You want to be the one who acts now, while this window is wide open and million-dollar sales are at your fingertips.